anything hockey related, on-ice programming, tryouts, evaluations, coaching, training, camps, development, dry land, preseason, summer stuff, equipment, on-ice instruction, that's all gonna be hockey side. Anything to do with events and fundraising, disciplinary stuff, scheduling, the employees, rostering, website, communication, those types of things, that's gonna be operations. So if you ever have questions, look at the communication tree and then reach out, okay? I also encourage everybody, because I see lots of new faces, welcome, by the way, check out our website. There's a lot of information on the website, and a lot of times when we get questions, it's stuff that's already out there, it's on the website. We try to put everything we possibly can out there. We even have a frequently asked questions portion. We have an example of how to get your kiddo dressed, for those of you that are completely new to hockey this year. So we have lots of information, a lot of resources on our website. So if you have any questions, check that out first and then reach out after that. One thing I just want to make note of is to take a peek at our policies and our handbook. Again, that's all on the website. But please review that, so you're familiar with what's required of you as a parent, what's required of your child as a player, and just kind of going through how the season will look for you. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight, but it also gives a good layout in there. I don't know where I'm getting this feedback from, but it's really annoying me, so I'm gonna just keep moving around and moving the mic, so I'm trying to hold it over to the side here. All right, we do have the DIBS requirement as well. Every family is required to do DIBS, so go ahead and peek at our DIBS policy. Make sure you're familiar with that. We are kind of strict on it, so when it comes time in March and April and you're like, oh, I didn't know, you probably will be charged that $500 because we just are very strict on, we need to have volunteers or we will not be able to run this program. So we do have the DIBS requirement. Every family is required to do 12 hours of DIBS. If you're coaching, team manager, different things like that, you possibly get some DIBS waived. So make sure you're familiar with the policy. Jamie's trying to adjust down here for us, but still squeaking at me. So just make sure that you're familiar with that DIBS policy. If you have questions about that, reach out to operations side of things and you can ask questions. The calendar, I always like to hit on this for new people as well. So the calendar can be a little bit finicky as far as if you don't have the right tag marked, then you're not gonna see your group. So make sure that you are familiar with what your group is called. If it's Termite 1, you're gonna be a T1. Mites for red, make sure it's M4R. Just make sure you have your right tags, make sure you know what team your kid is on, and then you can find that on the website. Under the calendar, on the calendar page, there is a spot where it tells you kind of how to work that calendar. So if you have questions about that, check that out first. But it is a little bit hard to navigate when you first are looking at it. There's a lot of information on the calendar. If you click all the tags, so don't do that. Make sure you're just clicking your teams that you need to look at. The app is another great app to have, the Sports Engine app, because then you can go in and you can mark your teams and it'll only show you your teams as well. There's also communication that happens on the app from coaches too, so if you have the app, make sure that you are a parent. Sometimes it'll say that you're just a fan, but if you're a parent, then you'll get those messages from the coach too. Again, there's a lot of things that come from Sports Engine. Sports Engine is not my favorite thing in the world. We have a lot of issues that pop up with it. So if you run into any issues, let us know. And then also, Sports Engine help desk is also very, very helpful. So you can always reach out to them as well. Just a reminder that the email communications that we send off from the club, those are always going to go to your main account. So for most of you, you're probably like just getting into it and just setting up your Sports Engine account by registering this year. Maybe you've had another sport before, and some of you I know probably have older children too. But just know that whatever we send off to email is going to that main account. So what happens as you get older and you have your older kids is now you're not using that account that you created 10 years ago. So you're not getting any of our emails. So make sure that your main account email is one that you're actually going to get emails on and that you're going to be able to check down the road. That's where all of our communications will go, is that main account. We also take those email communications and we'll post something on Facebook. Sometimes it'll just be like, hey, check your emails. We sent something important off. We try and copy important information over to our website as well. So if you're looking for some communication that went off, you can check the website there too. So Facebook, email, and website is how we communicate. Gun raffle tickets, so we will be asking that each family sell one book of gun raffle tickets. We do this every year. It's our biggest fundraiser that we have, so any cooperation with that is much appreciated because it definitely helps with our costs that we absorb throughout the season. January 24th will be the final turn-in date, so just kind of keep that earmarked. I know it's a long time from now, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind that by the end of January, you have your tickets sold and turned back in. Okay? We talked about dibs, so I will just talk about dibs a little bit more, I guess. So when I talk about dibs, that's your volunteer hours that we require. So for those that are new, again, dibs means our volunteer hours that we require. Like I said, 12 hours is required of each family. We have lots of opportunities through our tournaments, through concessions, various events that we hold that you can get your dibs hours in as well. So please take advantage of those and help where you can. We will be getting our first round of schedules up here in the next couple of days. We're actually working on inputting all of that information right now. Just doing that most of my Sunday actually. So once we get our teams all released, we will get that out on the calendar so that you can see what your next month looks like. For those that are new, we only release 1 month at a time because we have so many ice users that use our ice that we actually cannot do more than a month at a time or we'd be changing everything. And so that's unfortunate, but it's just the way that we have to do it. High school game gets canceled for weather, now they got a bump, and so we gotta move our whole week around basically on one high school game movie. Our team needs to get an extra practice, one of our older teams needs to get an extra practice in because they had missed for whatever reason. It shifts the whole week around. And so, we try and make sure that we're only releasing a month at a time. Figure skaters all of a sudden say, oh, we need a couple more extra hours for our competition. We didn't realize we were gonna need that. So, like I said, lots of ice users, we try and work around everybody's schedules. And so we only release that at a month at a time. So with that, the teams for mites will be coming out by the 23rd. We have emails coming up with mites this week. If you have not gotten information about mite evaluations and you're a mite player, let us know, please. We want to make sure that you guys have all of that information. Termites again, 23rd as well. So be on the lookout for those teams coming out the 23rd for mites and termites, and then you'll be able to go into that calendar and kind of see what that upcoming schedule looks like for you. If you have questions about the scheduling or anything, let us know. I'll let Mario talk a little bit more about what that's gonna look like as far as practices and games. I'm not gonna go into that right now. I'll have him talk about that, but just like I said, know that we would love to give you a full season of schedule, but it's just too difficult to have to reschedule everything and move everything around. For these levels, practices are gonna begin October 30th. So we'll have those teams out by this next Monday, the 23rd, not tomorrow, one more week. And then the following Monday, you're gonna start practices. Don't worry, I made sure these levels do not have practice on Halloween, so don't worry about that. We get that night off. And then we're gonna have our kickoff event on November 5th for these levels. We'll be sending out more information about that, but just make sure you mark off November 5th. They're gonna get their jerseys, we're gonna have some fun things going on at the rink here for that. And then November 11th is gonna be the picture day for this group of kids that you guys are here for tonight. We will not have makeup pictures, unfortunately, so November 11th is the day of the pictures. We work with the photographer on that and kind of work around our own schedules with ice and different things, so November 11th was what worked best for everybody. And then you can mark your calendar as well. November 29th is our all-team photo. And what that means is every hockey player basically in Bismarck will all meet at VFW at 6:15 on November 29th, and they take this huge photo. If you've ever been up to VFW, you'll see those, they have them every year up there, and you can find, maybe some of you are on there. I know I have an older one, a 21-year-old, and he's on a lot of those photos up there, and now I have my younger ones on there. So it's kind of fun to see like the progression of the groups. So all high schools, Bobcats, our youth, everybody gets together and they do the pictures. So November 29th, and we'll have more information about that as we get closer. I'm just looking at my list of things. Did I miss anything? Okay, lots of dates. We try and keep that up to date on our calendar. Jamie just, put something out about October. We may be doing the same thing in November, just so that you guys have something to glance at real quickly to be able to say, oh yeah, that's right, we have our kickoff and pictures and the all team photo and all of those fun things. So, we'll try and make sure that you guys are aware of all of those events that are coming up as well. All right, I think that's it. I'll let Mario talk about on ice and I'll just make sure I didn't miss anything.
Thanks, Michaela. Yeah, my name is Mario Lamoureux. I just kind of stepped in about a couple months ago to help improve the on-ice portion and organize kind of every level on all the teams throughout the year. But for our Mites groups, tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow, we have time trials, so Mike Dora will kind of be in charge of setting all that up. I will be there a little bit. But if there's any parents out there that would be available to help set up and monitor our stations tomorrow, we would need at least 8 people more if we have the help. So if anyone's interested in helping out tomorrow, we could use about double what we have right now signed up. Is there a spot they can look for that? Or
The sign up is on our website.
yeah, so the sign up's on the website.
Under Mites.
Under Mites, so if you want to log into there, and we would appreciate some extra help. Night 2, we're gonna do scrimmages. This is gonna kind of help us divide out our different tiers throughout the year. So I think the previous year they were doing 3 tiers of Mites, and this year we're gonna move to 4. The purpose behind that is that we want to get equal caliber players going against each other as much as possible. I think the more tiers there are, the more we can kind of develop the kids that maybe are at the lower tiers and our middle tiers, and I think it gives everyone a better opportunity to improve. My big thing from a hockey development standpoint, we want to increase our touches, we want to increase our time and movement on the ice. So we don't want to have a weaker kid going against maybe a kid that's a little bit stronger, and that weaker player doesn't touch the puck, they're not part of the play. We want to keep them involved with the game as much as possible. So by adding a tier, we think that we will hopefully kind of give every tier a good opportunity to improve. And I've kind of been around, Bismarck, and we've been around hockey my whole life, but even just in Bismarck, we've seen kids that have been on Sport B teams, PBB, and now they're playing on our AA teams. So we just want to make sure that every player has the opportunity to improve, and we think this is a good way to do that. There will be 4 teams. The plan is that we'll have 4 teams in each tier. This could obviously be changed as we kind of move through things, and there'll be adjustments as we go through. Maybe kids adjusting a little bit as we have the first part of the season. We just want to make our best attempt to get equal caliber kids going against each other. For our termite levels, we will also have 4 tiers, and for the termites, your sponsor's name, so whoever sponsored your team name, that's what, whoever your sponsor is, that's gonna be your team name for the year. So keep a lookout for that. What to expect for practices, we have 1 practice and 1 game for each week. And we're gonna try to add in more as we go if there's availability, and then the Mites would have dry land as well, which takes place at trench training, so I'm also in charge of that. And the purpose of that is to try and get, I guess, a larger volume of shots and stick handling done. We have a little bit of a, I guess you could call it just exercise. But we'll try to make that engaging and fun for the kids so they can enjoy coming, but we really want to try and get their shot volume and the amount of time they have the puck on their stick, get that up. We don't necessarily always get that on the ice, so this is a good way for us to try and improve those touches from an individual standpoint. The Termites and Mites, they will have 1 game per week. Some of these will be taking place in Mandan. These will be half-ice games. For those that haven't been part of this before, we set up the board dividers along the red line. This is quite a bit of work to get set up each time, so if you're ever around the rink and are able to come and give a helping hand, it's really helpful to have people come help set up the nets or set up the boards. Just make it, if there's 4 or 5 or 6 people helping, it takes about 5 minutes. but probably takes 1 or 2 people, about 20. So it'd be really helpful to have people helping if you're around for that. For goalies, we would like, our my levels and termite levels, we would really like kids to all have the opportunity to play goalie. So if you have a kid that wants to sign up to play goalie, we kind of rotate that throughout the year. So we really encourage everybody to try. We don't want kids at that age to be set in the net. We want them to take an opportunity to try goalie, maybe they like it. One thing we've looked at from our goaltending perspective is trying to, as the kids get older, we feed, as far as the boys hockey and girls hockey, we have 3 high school teams. We try to start to look at, being able to feed those high schools an appropriate amount of goalies as the kids get older. So it's something we're kind of keeping an eye on to try to make sure that we have goalies, obviously, for our youth teams, but then as they go to high school, trying to make sure each district will have an option goalie along with and we have 2 girls teams now, so that's also something that we're keeping an eye on. The dry land takes place at Trench Training, which is 3130 East Broadway. This is counted as a practice, so we would like all the players to be there. Coaches, if you are interested in coaching, please let me know. I think a lot of coaches have already signed up. If you have not and you're interested in helping, it's obviously with the younger they are, the more helpful it is to have more coaches out there. One of my big jobs is making sure that we have a plan going into each practice so that our practice time is productive. So especially if you're someone that has a little bit of experience and feels comfortable coaching, please let me know as soon as possible and we can kind of start to map out the year as far as how we're going to have some help with our younger age levels. Anything else that I'm missing?
If you are interested in coaching, we do have an in-person coaching clinic coming up on October 29th. It's at 4 o'clock at Capel Ice Complex. The information is on our website under coaches. Just a reminder, if you have coached in the past, or if you are new, you will need to attend the coaching clinic unless if you are already a certified level 4 coach. But otherwise, you'll need to up your level each year. Any questions from anybody? No, that's a lot of information to take in, especially when you're new, so holler loud. Dryland will be just part of your practice schedule. So yep, it'll just be on the calendar. Mites will be doing dryland, but they won't do it as frequently as the upper levels will. Twice a month is kind of what we're aiming for them, just so that they kind of get that experience and understand what dryland looks like.
So for termites and mites, if you will practice 1 game a week, but
My termites right now is 1 practice, 1 game. We're gonna try for more, especially when we have 3 opens and we have a little bit more ice. Mites right now, I'm scheduling like through November, they're getting 1 daytime or 1 weekday practice. And then they'll do 2 things on the weekend, whether that's 2 games or practice in a game. It's gonna shift kind of back and forth.
And you guys mentioned something about using man-dams.
Just as we have in the past with mites, that some of the games will be over in Mandan, some are in Bismarck. So we try and play with them. Mites in Mandan, I believe, is gonna have 1 tier 1 team and then 3 tier 2 teams. Eason has 1 tier 1 this year, so that's exciting. We have somebody new to play for the tier 1 kids, and then they have 1 tier 2. And the way Mario talked about that, we'll have the 4 tiers within Bismarck, but basically 1 and 2 will be that upper level, and then 3 and 4 will be your lower level. So that is a little bit confusing for those moving from termites to mites. Termites, you kind of progress from 1 through 4, and then mites is backwards. So 1 is your higher level, and then 4 is your lower level.
On the coaching side, are we using the agility app again with the mites?
Yeah, so if that's something that we have access to, we can still utilize that. I have another template that we can use. It's basically virtual practice plans. You'll be able to get on your phone. So at the coaches meeting, I'll try and get everybody lined up on that. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to understand certain things. The agility stuff, I think, is a good tool as well, but that'll be just kind of an added thing that I'd like to get everyone added on to once we get started.
There was a question on our live stream about how our scheduling changes communicated. If it's a last minute scheduling change, again, you know, all of a sudden we had to bump the Termites down because we had another game we needed to add in or something like that. If it's a last minute, like within the week, we'll get an email, something sent off. You know, if it's a month out yet and we adjusted something, we probably aren't gonna reach out to everybody and make sure you got that communicated to you. We're also trying to communicate better with our coaches this year. I think our Termites and Mike's coaches didn't have a good way of communicating around with each other, with the hockey director, with myself. So we're really gonna try and increase that communication as well, so the coaches can communicate some of that down to their teams. But yeah, we will try and, you know, get those last minute changes out to you in email, Facebook, those types of things. Otherwise, we just really encourage people, keep an eye on the calendar. Things do change last minute. When I just explained this to somebody today, when I have to change a game, I have to notify Parks and Rec, the referees, the concessions, the Pixel people, NBAHA, the coaches, the team managers, the team that we're playing, you know, so it's just a lot to try to keep track of, like, did I notify everybody? Did everybody get that notice? And so that's why I just say keep an eye on the calendar. Things do change and we apologize for that. We try not to do that. And we really try not to do it last minute, like within the week, you know, once we have that week kind of set, I like to keep it that way. But if we do, we will definitely try and get that communicated out. Like I said, Facebook is probably our #1 communication device that we use. So if you're not on our Facebook page, make sure you like the Smart Hockey. We send a lot of information that way. It's a quick way for us to just shoot something off rather than going through the whole Sports Engine back page and doing the email. So we do try and communicate best we can. We apologize if anything gets missed.
I can touch on. For anyone that's interested in coaching, what we would do for each level is have all the coaches in one group text so that we can just easily communicate to make sure we have enough coaches for each practice, because I know some people aren't able to make it to all. Mike or I might not be able to be at certain practices. We just want to make sure we don't show up to a practice, we only have 2 people that can help, and we can try and communicate that, or try to get some other people to help if we ever know ahead of time that we're short-handed. So that's one of the things we're gonna do for each level.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned BF3, when is that coming online?
Well, we have been promised by the end of the year it will be completed. The question for those watching the live stream is, when is BF3 slated to be completed? We've been told the end of the year, fingers crossed. It is looking better. I drove by a couple weeks ago and I was like, well, I don't know, but I drove by this weekend again and I thought, okay, it's getting there. So yeah, that's the goal.
Where's the 3 BFW located at?
It's attached to BF2. Yep, so 1, 2, and 3 will all be up there together. Yep. And yeah, and so 2 got a revamp as well, so I think you guys will be excited to see that that's not just the dungeon break anymore. It'll look a lot better.
Did you say, are we doing 2 girls teams for ice this year?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Todd. Note of communication on that. Todd just asked if we were having girls teams for rights. That is our intent. Sorry, we have not gotten that information out, but that is our intent. As soon as we get through evaluations, we'd like to reach out to all of the girls that are signed up for mites. And if your girl in mites would like to be on a girl-specific team, that would be the intent. We don't know how many teams that will be yet. And obviously they'll still play against the boys. But you know, if we could form 2 solid girl teams out of all the girls signed up for mites, I think that would be really beneficial in their retention and just enjoying the experience of it a little bit more. So if you do have a girl that's in mites, if you want to let us know, or we'll be reaching out kind of after we get through the evaluations. We need to know like kind of where they all fall to before we can kind of place all of them together, if that makes sense. But yes, that is our intent, is to try and get the girls together, and maybe it ends up that we do have girls team, half boys together, but at least they would have a group of them going into, the older levels where they will just be girls. We wanna make sure that they just stay with their same competition level, and even if they wanna play together, we don't wanna put anybody down or up if they're not ready for it.
Do you have an example of what kind of practice you're gonna do?
I wish I could tell you that. The question for those on the live stream was, if there is an example of practice times, and for those of you that have been around, it's all over the place. I wish I could say, yes, it's every Saturday at 10 a.m. But it just fluctuates a ton. Again, all the ice users that we have, it's just almost impossible to do any kind of set scheduling. We also have tournaments that will also affect your termites and mites at times. We have large tournaments this year. We try and host all of our tournament games down here. The problem that we have right now is that termites and mites equipment for all of their games is also down here. And so what we're trying to do once VF3 gets opened up is make sure that we can get equipment up there so that we can start utilizing VFW for termites and mites just as much as we do down here. But when we have tournaments, that means Sundays for termites and mites, it gets pushed pretty far back. Otherwise, I would love to say they're always gonna be on, Saturday, Sunday mornings, but again, those tournaments, other games, league games, just other events going on. Figure skaters have competitions and they have their tryouts and things, so sorry, I can't give you a good answer on that. Like I said, for anybody that's been around, it's just all over the place. Just check the calendar, I'm sorry.
How are you splitting up your mics this year, like tiering them by birthday or years playing or?
Yep, so the question was, how are we tiering the termites? We're gonna still do it the same as we have the last few years and doing it by years played. So those newer kids will be in kind of that termite 1, 2. We always have a ton of those, and so they kind of fall into tier 2 as well. Your third year skaters are all gonna be in tier 4, and that's always probably our lower number group is that tier 4 one. So then we kind of, the second year skaters, they kind of shift between 2 to 4, because we just fill in where we have to. And we always say with anybody that has siblings in termites, we will automatically put them on the same team unless we hear from you that you don't want them on the same team. And I know I had one family reach out and say, nope, don't do that for us. And I know I split my boys up at one point too, just because they were, 2 years apart, a first year skater and a third year skater. So if you don't want them on the same team, let us know, but otherwise we'll just assume that you do. And then they'll probably be in that middle group.
Was that just based on the eval that we did for registration wise?
Yep, when you registered, it would have been first year, second year, third year skater, and then we just kind of group them together like that.
There's no the mites have that evaluation on the 23rd?
No, termites do not have any evaluations. No, what we do is we group them that way, just like we talked about. We'll basically go through and just kind of put kids into the different teams based on how many years they've been skating. And then Mike and Mario will be present. I mean, same with Mike's two guys. Mike and Mario will be present at the beginning of the season, and they're gonna be watching, those practices, the games, and kind of getting a feel for if kids are placed right at that point. Obviously, a 1 night of time trial and 1 night of game for Mike's doesn't always show you everything either, along with, there's people that are gonna miss some of that because they have other activities going on. So same with termites, if you got a first year skater, but, he's first year in our program, he's been skating for 2 years already, he might be able to bump up pretty quickly, because we don't wanna hold him back if they're not in the right group. So Mike and Mario will kind of evaluate that over the next several weeks.
So then we'll just wait for school to come out.
Yep, termites will just send an email off on October 23rd, just with the teams, yep. Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, on the calendar, it says that the evaluation is tomorrow, it's an all-day event.
Yeah, it's not an all-day event, it would be by your time. It probably was put out that way because we only finalized the times recently, but it's been on the calendar for months, and it probably was put out that way, or that way because of that. So look at the time sheets that was sent off, or you can go on our website under mites, and it should be on there. So if you're in group 1, I think it's 5:30 tomorrow, right? 5:15, sorry. Group 2, 6 o'clock. Group 3, 7 o'clock, group 4, 7:45. And if there, was any changes made to your group, Jamie should have communicated with you. You were to reach out to her by Friday, and she would have communicated back with you. If anybody didn't hear back on a change, let us know. But otherwise, we should have accommodated all of those at this point. And then stay with your same group all week. So if you're group 1, then you're gonna be group 1 on Tuesday. If you're group 3, you're gonna be group 3 on Wednesday. Any other questions? Yeah, so with our Mike evals, I know Mario talked about if you are able to help out with any of the evaluations the next couple of nights, please go on and sign up. There's a link under Mike's on our website. Please go on and sign up. Like we are begging people to please help because we are to a point that, if we don't get more people to help, we won't be able to do evaluations. So please, if you are available, sign up, come out and help out. We really need people to help run those time trials tomorrow night and then just help on the bench on Tuesday and Wednesday, really just opening doors and stuff, especially, you know, for those lights, they're needing help. Somebody will, you know, inevitably need to go to the bathroom, or somebody's skate comes in tight, or so they just need some help. And then also we are asking anybody that wants to do goalie for the games on Tuesday, Wednesday, let us know, just email operations_coordinator@bismarckhockey.com. And let her know. They won't be evaluated as a goalie, obviously. We'll have them most likely come to a different session. So if your kiddo's in group 2, but they wanna play goalie, then we'll probably just have them come to group 1, play goalie, and then do their skate out in group 2, okay? Same with, you know, Wednesday night, if you're in group 3, but your kid wants to just do goalie, have them do the goalie session on group 4, but skate out during group 3. So if they're interested in doing goalie, they're not gonna be evaluated on that at all, we just need some goalies in net so we can play our games. Anything else?
You need to be a qualified coach to help the ice.
Yes. Yes, you need to be a certified coach to help. Otherwise, you're gonna say hockey will not come in or.
Going to that clinic on the 29th, does that make you a certified coach?
Yes. Yep, as long as you're registered for a clinic, you can help out, yep. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, we're excited to have all the new families come and get started with the season. I do have one thing that came in here, so I just wanna make sure that everybody gets the same answer. Do they move termites up or down in tiers 1 through 4 based on skill, or is it from years of skating experience? So again, yeah, it would just be based off of, the years of skating experience to start, but they definitely could be moved up if we feel they're not appropriately placed at that point. And sometimes parents come and say, you know, you guys put them in termite 2 and they're not able to keep up with some of those second year skaters and you move them back down to termite 1. You know, and that's, yeah, if you guys feel like they need to be looked at, let us know. Like there's a lot of termites and mites to keep eyes on, so even if Mike and Mario go and watch, they might not see it all either. So if there's somebody, you know, specific, you're like, I need you to just check my kid out, I don't think he's in the right spot. Mario will come and watch and see what he thinks. Okay, well, like I said, thanks for all coming and we look forward to a good season. It's like, there's no like